We are live. Mics are hot. What's up, Dustin? How you doing?
Doing good.
I'm doing pretty well as well. Thank you guys for being here. It's Monday. Hopefully you're getting after it. You're tuning into the Non-Corporate Network, NCN. If you're wondering what the heck is a non-corporate network, then you probably don't know because you're at a cubicle at your day job. This is for entrepreneurs. These are for people that are hustling. So if you're with us, we appreciate it. This is fill in the blank. And so the format of our show is me and Dustin have curated a few interesting topics in the world of small business and entrepreneurship that we want to bring to you. What we'll do is we'll put 3 minutes on the clock and we will debate each topic, bring you the information that you need, the headlines that are relevant today. Am I leaving anything out?
No. Basically, what's the major news for business, marketing, and everything small business, and just trying to bring the news to the world.
Hey, you know, me and Dustin were athletes growing up, and we realized that you got to be like an 85-year-old white man with suspenders to be able to host a show about business, and we figured that's not the case anymore. You know, a lot of people in the gig economy, they're our age, they're millennials. We want to bring you something that was a little bit more entertaining and a little bit funner to watch. So turn CNBC off. Get rid of that crap. You're here with us, NCN. This is fill in the blank. Let's dive right into it, man. I'm ready. Are you ready for the first story?
Yep. Let's dive right in.
By the way, I'm Chaz Vandemotter.
Dustin Trout.
Sorry that we kind of forgot about formalities there. But,
we're excited about the content.
We're stoked about this. Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Well, yeah. Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah. So with the first story, overall online orders continue to climb and rise, which is leading to bottlenecks in terms of the logistics and supply chain management. People are getting their products. What was it? A whopping
8.6% longer it takes to get your product.
8.6% longer, and people are all up in arms. But I think there's two main takeaways here. There's just a growing trend of online orders. So if you're a business, figure out how to get commerce on your website, even if you're a service company. I mean, I know, Chaz, you've been working on ways as a marketing agency to productize your services and offer it online. And so have that in mind, but also think through the logistics side and how you're going to get products and fulfill on those orders. And kind of what are your thoughts on?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because we've cited that there's over 80% of America right now is weary about their finances. And so it's an interesting correlation between online ordering rising and more money being spent paired with people kind of on the rocks about their finances. So, I think that mainly the industries that are booming right now in the online ordering are, necessary products, things that you need around the house that you may not have access to. But it really does present an opportunity not only for advertisers, but really also for consumers to take advantage of some of these new trends and discounts in the e-commerce space right now. But I think it's the other side of this too, and I've always been on the team of USPS is not run very well. It takes them about 18 business days right now to send something. So avoid them if you guys send some across the country right now. But, I think that they would almost be better off kind of having a private company take them over and maybe just do a better job. I think that these government-run agencies at this point, need to be focusing on things outside of logistics and, maybe some business acumen
maybe some
injected into that organization might help them speed the process up.
Some logistic companies in general should probably take it over. I mean, anything the government typically touches goes bankrupt. I mean, we're seeing it with the USPS. I mean, there's a whole reform on that side of things I think could help. I mean, what if Amazon were to take it over? I mean, not to make them any bigger, but something like that. I mean, it would just help the overall logistics industry. I mean, great examples of what you brought up. I mean, think of how much more people you could service by offering things online. Like if you're an auto repair company. I mean, if someone could purchase just online, now you're not having lines at your desk and everything like that.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. It opens the door to productized services that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to offer online. And I think that this doesn't just go for e-commerce. These freight forwarding companies that help manage this process operate on super thin margins as it is. So I think that a service where there is an overhead associated with it might be an even better opportunity to sell as an e-commerce product now.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, well, moving along. Now, this story kind of is tied to the online ordering trend. There's a company called Route. It's a third-party logistics company, and essentially they have a technology that helps add more transparency to the online ordering process. So when you go to order something, there's the notorious receipt that you get at UPS, and it's like this 20-digit number. It's like, okay, go to these 3 different websites and get through just to track your product. Like, I think that companies like Domino's with their kind of ordering little ticker meter that shows the progress is kind of popularized, and this company Route is now applying that kind of methodology to freight forwarding. I think it's an interesting story right now. But what are your thoughts on this company?
Yeah, I mean, it's the thought I think is totally there, but I think in terms of the technology, it's not the newest technology, and probably a bit affordable. I mean, I think companies should take this on their own. I mean, as you mentioned, Domino's has done it, so what's to stop someone from creating some type of WordPress plugin or Shopify plugin that allows some more insight into the shipping? So overall, I think it's a great idea. Yeah. I'm just wondering if they're a little late to the party, or if there's going to be innovation that comes out of individual companies to help give their customers insight. I mean, everyone loves the insight and not having. You're giving people more time back in their day. They don't have to go check on it frequently. Yeah. They get real-time updates and whatnot. So
yeah. No, I agree. I think that this is speaking to the consumer trend of, I want to know right now. I want transparency. And, if you are not an Amazon Prime member, which most people I'm sure listening are, but they do a pretty good job of giving you confirmation emails, and things happen so quick that the meter might fill up in like 30 minutes and you have your product. But I think that this is definitely a trend. If you have a product, whether it is food that you're delivering, whether it is an e-commerce plugin, whatever it may be, I think that people want to know, how much further is it going to be? How much longer do I have to wait? And oftentimes consumers have kind of just settled for, oh, well, I got to just trust the business and it's going to get there. And now with this whole story we just discussed about how the shipping is taking longer, there's more orders, there's more back orders. I think it's now more important than ever to be able to educate your consumer on, how much time is it going to realistically take?
Yeah, I mean, you hit a couple great points. I mean, the transparency. More and more people are wanting transparency, but you're being mindful of the consumer. Yeah. And really what you're doing is, instead of me having to reach out, ask where my stuff is that I paid for, you're getting push notifications. I mean, it's crazy with Amazon. It's like, get a push notification, and it lets you know you're 20 stops away, and you could literally track it to your door. And so it's switching the tables to allow the consumer to have more information, which is always good.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, it's no surprise. Domino's has come out of nowhere with their ordering, and it's like, that can be the reason you use a different provider, is specifically just to know. It's one less thing I got to worry about. Cool. This company's going to allow me to not worry about it. You're my solution.
Exactly.
Sweet. Well, let's move on to our next story. AirBnB. They promised their hosts and people that booked through them that they were going to give back $250 million of bookings for cancellations. And many of Airbnb's consumers are actually up in arms because they have not received any money. And so it raises the question, Airbnb, are you being sus? Are you not providing the relief that you said you were going to? This can be really damaging for a brand. Obviously, a headline like this doesn't really breathe trust into an organization as large as them. But how is this going to affect them?
Yeah, I mean, especially if they're not giving the money, I mean, people aren't getting it. That's total negative publicity.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the thought is there, but I mean, even when I first read it, I think there's a better way to spend it in terms of maybe incentivizing people to come. I mean, as we were discussing before this, it's an Airbnb, so you're going to someone else's house. I mean, if you're cleaning it could help people get out of the I'm stuck at home and kind of feel like a vacation during all this COVID stuff. And if you figure out maybe Airbnb offers half off or 75% off. You're still keeping people going. And then when people are on vacation, they're probably going to be ordering food or whatever it may be. So you could be more of an impact on getting the economy going again. And so, I mean, outside of them not giving it, it sounds like that's a common thing with the stimulus checks that are going on. People aren't getting them and everything going on. So, I mean, I hope they're not just holding on to it and created that as a headline for publicity, because it'll turn around and bite them. But
yeah, no, I mean, I think that it's really interesting that I like your idea. Maybe something like a staycation type of campaign where you go stay at your neighbor's house. I don't know, but like something. I mean, they did a great job of disrupting this industry of hospitality in a major way, and so everyone's looking for them to do it again. They're not looking at the Hiltons and the Hyatts out there. They're not going to innovate. It's going to come down to Airbnb. I think it's interesting, though, that they've cut over $800 million in marketing expenses. And it almost makes me think that they're not even hedging their own bet. They're like, you're right. Our industry is plummeting. People don't trust this. We just have to stay alive right now and cut as many expenses as we can. So it's interesting. Some businesses are being more aggressive, where they've kind of decided, let's just pull back. They actually took $2 billion in debt in the last week. So, it's interesting. It almost seems like they're trying to just patch through this time rather than try to be more aggressive and innovate, which, come on, Airbnb. You guys led the charge. Don't turn it in a blockbuster, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, pulling back on the marketing budget, that's one thing. But I think if they could figure out how to cleverly market people still going out, it might not be, hey, I'm going to go to San Diego, I'm here in Arizona. It might just be, I'm going to go to Scottsdale and just get out of my house and feel like something is normal. I think they could have built a great campaign around that to continue bookings going and use some of that $250 million to spark that campaign and get people purchasing.
And give it back to the people. There's nothing worse than somebody not getting money back from you that they thought they were going to receive. That'll destroy your brand. I mean, just a couple hundred people talking about that, that's not gonna do anything good for your business. So, yeah.
Yep.
All right, into our next story. We're talking about Google and its
ID verification.
Yeah. What do you got for me there?
So Google is releasing something where advertisers have to verify who they are in order to advertise, have to show identification, whether it be a license or passport, but basically they just want to know the people who are behind the advertising in accounts, and if you don't provide it, I think it's the next 30 or 60 days, they'll actually stop you from running. I personally think that I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to protect the consumer, and I mean, we all heard the headlines in the 2016 election where people were swaying votes, but to me, it's like, why should I have to give a company more of my information, especially a valid ID and everything like that, when it's the consumer that should be doing their due diligence and researching the product before they buy. I mean, marketing does help enlighten things and show new products and services and all that, but it's still up to the consumer to do their due diligence.
Yeah. No, I mean, and the consumer doesn't have any more information than 2020. It's at our fingertips. The thing I will say is that the Google PPC has been notorious in a way for some kind of really sus white labeled kind of ads that are, you think it's for this company, but it takes you to a subdomain or it's some gimmicky landing page. And so I think that eliminating some of that fat is going to actually raise click volume on the ads themselves, because people are going to be less skeptical of who the heck is this? Is this something legitimate? Is this just fake? So I think that in that light, more clicks means more money for them. And so it could be a way to kind of clean their platform up a little bit. But, there's always the downfall of, I've got to provide my photo ID to Google. And so it's like, you're working with a slippery slope. But what are your thoughts on generating more returns off this and more traffic off this? Is that something you think is legitimate? Or?
I mean, I think they will. I mean, it's part of more headline reading. Trying to get stuff and saying, hey, we're a safer company, but it's like, to your point, I have to give my my ID and all that to Google. Now they're collecting more data. They have my face. They have, I mean, they probably already have it anyway. Yeah. But it's just giving more information to Google. Going back to sketchy landing pages and stuff like that. I mean, I like to look at it as the real world. If there's something too good to be true, it probably is. And if you see a storefront that looks really sketchy, and chances are you're probably not going to go to it, but it's doing that due diligence where if it does look sketchy, just leave, do some more research. I mean, I want
to see some fire between like Facebook and Google in terms of like some advertising, like marketing warfare. Like, you know, these are the two biggest vendors, and Facebook has come out and pretty much screwed up with the election. They had to go testify and all this stuff. Like, I think Google can capitalize off of that and be, hey, we're the safer platform.
Yeah.
We're doing things the right way, and really go after Facebook, because companies are deciding, where do I put my money, in Google or Facebook?
Yeah.
There's not really much other places you're considering.
Which that's probably the next step, is a whole campaign around that. Hey, we're a safer platform. Do your research with us.
Now, and kind of piggybacking into our next story here, I hear that Google is allowing for free products. What is this?
Yeah, so Google has an ad product called product listing ads, where you go into the Google platform, you give them a data feed that pulls from your store, and essentially it has the images, it has the price, and it's those where if you type in Nike shoes, a bunch of Nike shoes show up. It's a cost per click to do that. The only way you can get in there is by paying Google to show up there. Well, they're opening that up to allow free listings now, so anyone can go in and list their products, and it would show up there for free. It's a way to try and combat Amazon and hit the e-commerce space a lot harder. I mean, as we've mentioned, how much it's a growing trend, especially right now. So I mean, what are your thoughts on them offering free space?
I mean, I think it's definitely interesting. I think that there's a few things at play here. So I look at this and I say, you know, first off, that's phenomenal. It's one more place. I really hope that customers aren't going to look at that and go, oh, sweet, free listing, I'm good. Just like people that came on and got on Amazon with their products, it doesn't necessarily mean money in your bank account. Now there's going to be some crazy, sophisticated SEO process to get to the top that's going to continue to be innovated and iterated. So I think, like, let the games begin in terms of this being the next version of SEO as it relates to product marketing. But the best way I can describe this is they've really looked at this from a perspective of, can we embed like an Amazon platform into our search engine? And it's such a native experience, the same way that they're doing with Google Local. I mean, I really do like what they're doing. Like, Google Local listings are coming up when you're searching for specific keywords that are going to pull up, like, and show your intent to go somewhere local. Same thing here. I mean, we read a story a couple of weeks ago or a week ago about how 47% of product orders were starting on Amazon compared to like 30% were starting on Google, something like that. But this is a way for them to start making themselves synonymous with the Google search for a product, where Amazon has definitely been winning that space. You know, they're just creating this all in one thing. They've done it over and over again. So, I mean, I think I'm for it. I think it's interesting, but businesses, be wary. This isn't going to automatically put money in your bank account.
Yeah, no, you bring up a good point that, I mean, I didn't even think about, and that's where, I got it's listed up there. It's fine. I don't need to be doing anything else, where it's going to create more opportunity. And how do I optimize my products? How do I optimize the titles, the descriptions, I mean, SEO is huge in general. So, I mean, with people productizing things a bit more, it's going to put more emphasis on how do you optimize your website, your products, everything to show up more.
And how do they work together? I mean, you've got YouTube, Google My Business, and now this marketing play. Like, how can you combine all of that?
Yep, exactly. And that's where the power is if you have product videos, how do you tie it into the listings to beef them up, which then bring your website up, and then all of a sudden you're showing up everywhere.
YouTube, but I mean, it'll be crazy. Yeah, I mean, if you're committed to one of these silos, I would commit to all three. If you're like, oh, I don't do YouTube, but I do this local listing stuff, like, you just got to do all three. It's a smart play. It's all Google products. Have them work together.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, well, getting into our this is our final story.
Final story. Time flies.
Yeah, no, we're having a good time here. Anything about Budweiser? I'm all ears. What do we got with Budweiser today?
Yeah, so they're bringing back their infamous commercial, the Whassup.
Colton, give us a Whassup.
So they teamed up with Salvation Army to create a hotline, and at the end of the Whassup commercial is the hotline for anyone that's kind of going through anything mentally, just with the whole COVID stuff going on, I mean, there's been huge stuff on the mental side and the negative impacts that it's causing. And so they're kind of bringing something back to, I guess, create nostalgia and just do some more good. So, I mean it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm about it. I mean, think about it this way from a psychological standpoint. When has a beer company been associated with a company like the Salvation Army? You know, like usually you think beer, you think parties, you think dancing, you think clubs. You don't think giant charity that's helping save people's lives. Like, so, you know, just the mere association between Budweiser and Salvation Army, I think is a huge play to their brand. But I think it's interesting because you're changing the associations. You make the point of nostalgia. I mean, they're just checking boxes in terms of what an advertisement needs to do. It's been a while since this ad's been out, too. I mean, it's been like 10 years. So definitely a topical time. Definitely an ability to go viral with people just sitting around. One thing that I am kind of surprised about, though, is I'm from Atlanta. People in Atlanta don't really drink Budweiser. It's all African-American people that are their celebrity guests, and I think that's interesting. I don't know if they're trying to play more on I know these people are some of them are in the NBA. I don't know if it has to do with the NBA audience. I don't know if it has to do with the demographics, if they're trying to win more business from these other demographics. But I think it's interesting that, you know, I mean, just being real here, like if you're drinking a Budweiser, usually you're Caucasian. That's just the way that their brand has been. So I think they're innovating in different levels here. So, I mean, I think I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm going to keep an eye on the Google Trends. It'd be interesting to see the parents that hear it go, oh, that was such a great commercial. Then the kids start searching. I wonder what it's going to do for the brand in general for Budweiser. Because, I mean, we were here Saturday, and as we were working, watched that video, and then you remember the frogs, the Budweiser. So we started watching that video, and it's like it'll be interesting to see what it does for their brand in general. I mean, they're doing something good, but what's really interesting is we started watching more and more good commercials that companies have come out with. So maybe there's going to be a whole reboot of old commercials.
Geico's done a great job for years at doing this, kind of bringing back the fan favorites and almost giving the fans a voice as to, like, I think that would be interesting. Like, see what, like, run a campaign about, like, which ad should we bring back? And, you know, if consumers are the ones that are watching the ads and they're now bought into watching the ads and, like, oh, I love that ad, I'm going to watch it again. It's like, oh, my gosh, you've just done something amazing.
Hit a gold mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
now
easy
you're
a
asking
caveman
people
can
to
do it.
advertise to you. It's like usually that's the opposite. It's like get the ads away from you. No, I love it. I love it. Well, this has been fun, man. This is good. I thank you guys for being here. Remember, leave us questions, leave us topics. If you see a story, please send it to us. We will debate it. We'll do some research on it. But, you know, obviously kind of going full circle, it sounds like e-commerce is something that's really popping off based off what we talked about. And Google's been in a lot of the headlines. So they're staying busy during this time. And I know that anybody out there is staying busy. We're staying busy. So, don't let the coronavirus thing stop you from staying productive.
If anything, it's created more opportunity. Be innovative and bring value.
Find the points where we can innovate. You know, I always think about how can you sell pickaxes to the gold miners, and you know the gold miners are maybe looking for something like toilet paper now. So how do you sell you know, something like that? So you know, good luck to everybody out there. Our hearts are going out to anybody that's been affected by this. Obviously, we've all really been affected by this. So especially business owners, hang in there, be innovative. And thank you guys for watching the Non-Corporate Network, NCN. This is Fill in the Blank. Again, my name's Chaz Vandemotter.
Dustin Trout.
Thank you guys for being with us. We'll be back on Wednesday with some more crazy stuff to inform you about. So with that, I'm done.
Make it a good day.